push-up. Really great upper body exercise for developing that chest strength, a little bit of tricep. You know, it's an old exercise, but it still works great. We typically do it in our warm-ups here, but as far as developing that chest strength, it's still a really great exercise. You have all these new chest workouts people are coming up with, but I still like to fall back on the push-up for developing that strength. Also works a lot of core stabilizing, so another great advantage for that. And someone who explained it really well, I believe, is Pavo, who wrote the Naked Warrior book. And he describes doing the push-up while creating that full body tension. And what he means by that is that everything is tight. You don't have any loose body parts. You know, your hips aren't sinking, your butt's not up in the air. Everything is tight and rigid, which allows you better drive and get a lot more out of it. And the way he describes it is starting from the toes up. So you're going to start with your toes being flexed. Your quads are going to be contracted, locking your knee in. So you have that straight leg effect. Again, your knees aren't sinking down, hips aren't sinking. And when you get to the hips, you're going to tuck your tailbone underneath for that pelvic tilt, so everything stays in line. Moving up to the abdominal region. Instead of just squeezing your core, you're going to try and pull your belly button to your back to create that abdominal bracing. Again, just keeping that rigid effect from the toes up to the abdominals now. Moving on up to the upper body, the upper torso. You're going to have your shoulder blades pulled back together and down. And while you're doing this, you're going to squeeze your lats. And almost like when you're doing bench press, you want that good solid base to work with. And again, just creating that tension. And then moving up to the head, you want to tuck your chin underneath. You don't want any impingements in your neck. You want that neutral spine position to be maintained. So you're going to tuck your chin underneath. And from there, you're going to have your elbows locked in. You're going to control your body weight down. When you drive up, you're going to rotate your hands outward slightly. And what that does is allows your elbows to stay tucked underneath. You don't want to see that flaring effect with your elbows, protecting your shoulders and elbows from injury, and just really working that tricep drive. And again, controlling it down, work that speed coming up. That's kind of the way I teach it here. So we're going to have Wes from the soccer team here demonstrates the push-up. For your setup, your toes flexed. Good. Quads are contracted, locking in the knee. You're going to tuck your tailbone underneath. You're going to pull the belly button to your back for that abdominal bracing, so that core is nice and tight. You're going to bring your shoulder blades together and down. Good. Squeeze the lats. Good. And then the last thing, you're going to tuck your chin in to keep that neutral spine position. So as you go down to the ground, nice and controlled. Your chest and quads should be in contact with the ground. Your knees should never come down all the way. As you come up, you're going to rotate your hands out. Come. What that does is keeps the elbows tucked. So let's see a couple of reps guys. Good. Control it down. Drive up. Rotate the hands out. Good job.